And I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything. I'm here on Hawaii. It's just like exploding. And I didn't even know what I was doing at the time, right? I didn't know why I was selling. It sold like 44 units that day. And that was like a few days after the first sale, I think. I just spent like $40 at PPC. I didn't know how to set, I didn't do anything, right? And it just kind of took off. So that's when I was like, whoa, like there's something to this, right? That I want to learn more about.
Tonight we got a very special guest. We got my man Riaz in the building, and Riaz actually just recently sold his Amazon FBA business shortly after me, actually. So we kind of sold it around the same time. And what I want to do tonight is get Riaz to kind of share his story of how he was able to build his business out of from nothing to something, 7 figures. And ultimately giving you guys the opportunity to ask him some questions. And yeah, I think Riaz got a pretty cool story, and we're probably going to dive deep into it. So Riaz, I know I texted you at probably like 6:15, 30 minutes or 5:50 or something like that, like an hour before the call. I'm like, hey man, you want to come on? You're like, oh yeah. Honestly, I didn't think you were going to come on, but I'm happy that you did.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's good to be here. No, I know we've been trying to do a call for a while, probably like years now. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I think this is a better time than ever. Now that you've sold your business, it's the full closure, so we can talk about the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Like I think we kind of started at the same time, and then we kind of ended at the same time too. Or so.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah. You're just trying to copy me. No, I'm just kidding. I was trying to copy you. What tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like where you're from, like what did you do before Amazon? Give us a little bit of background, and I can just ask you some questions.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm in California. My name is Riaz. I'm a mechanical engineer. Went to college for that for 4 years. I got a job at Spec. They make like phone cases. And was there for a couple years, and I was just being like overworked. I did product development, and it was like pretty crazy. And then eventually I just started thinking like, well, like I'm putting in like so many hours, and like my salary is like not changing that much, right? There's like some bonuses, but it's not like life-changing money. So I was like, okay, what if I just do like what I'm doing now, but for myself? And so that's when I somehow just found out about Amazon and started doing it on the side. Like I worked the 9 to 5 at Spec, and then the 7 to 1 on my own
7 to 1?
Yeah.
Damn. So how did you first came across Amazon?
I don't know. I was just looking for it. I was really hungry. I was listening to like motivational stuff, and I think it was just like Googling. Who's that one guy? Do you know Chris Guthrie? Do you remember that name?
Yeah,
he's kind of like with Scott Volker's like people.
Yeah. Scott Volker. He's the OG in the Amazon podcast space.
Yeah.
He's the first guy that I listened to.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So
you were just like typing in like how to make money online, and like a podcast came up and you listened to it. You're like, oh, this sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I think when you're looking for something, like you'll find it, right? Somehow.
Guys, I kid you not. So the other day, so this is yesterday, actually, literally yesterday, I was I really want to like add a business coach to my life. Like I'm really big into personal development and coaching. Like I got a life coach like 2.5 months ago to teach me about like just add a new perspective. And I think it's always good to add new perspective. So I paid for a life coach, which we hop on a call every 2 weeks. By the way, I introduced him to you because we'll talk about that after. You were quite lost after you sold your Amazon business. Are you going to go with him or?
Yeah, I mean, we just had that second call of the day. I got to think about it, but it's like really super good investment in yourself. So
yeah, for sure. Well. So if any of you guys are like super lost, he might be a good person to talk to. But I want a business coach. So I went out for a walk, And I've been doing a lot of walks with my dog recently. And I just been like, oh, I want a business coach. I want a business coach. I want a business coach. And then I ended up calling like one of my mentors who has done very well in the e-commerce space. And he's like offered to be kind of like my business coach, even though that's not something he does. So I was like, oh my God, like I manifested that into reality. And then in the evening, it was a pretty nice day here in Vancouver yesterday. I went for a drive with me and my girlfriend, and we're in this area called Kitsilano in Vancouver, Point Grey Road, and that's where all like the most expensive houses are. And we're just like driving in the neighborhood. I'm just like looking at some houses, and then we come across Chip Wilson's house, which is the founder of Lululemon. And now I'm like, Christina, how cool would it be like if we just saw Chip like coming in and out of the house or something like that? It's like, oh, that's Chip. And then we're like driving around, and then we hit a dead end, so we have to turn around. And as we're turning around, we have to pass Chip's house. And there he was, a freaking guy drives in his black Range Rover coming into his house. I think his house is like $80 million or something. It's like absolutely ridiculous. Like I've seen it once when I was on the ocean, and you can see his house. It's like massive lot, and it's crazy. Anyways, I was like, oh wow, I manifested that into my life as well. So I think to your point, I mean, I actually really believe in this whole like manifestation. If you think about it, it will happen. Like if you go out and look for it, it will come to you. Like I'm not a woo-woo person, like stuff like that. But that's one thing that's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Like I'm not really woo-woo like that either, but there's definitely like it definitely works. It works. I used to listen to a lot of Bob Proctor stuff, and there's some videos on YouTube from the 80s, and like a presentation or something that he did, and like honestly, like I credit all my success, or not all of it, you know, but I credit like a lot of success like to those set of videos, because it really like it really opens up your mind, and like you need to set like, I don't know, you gotta like change your beliefs, right? If you're gonna stick, because this is the long game. Amazon is a long game, so you have to really like change yourself and like be in that mode to like, you know, get to where you want to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think mindset is so important, and like your belief system is so important. And I think one of the best ways to actually break your belief system is by surrounding yourself. You're a product of your environment, period. We are a product of our environment. You know, there's if you're raised in kind of a bad like childhood situation, whatever it might be, that's going to have an effect on you, but that's your environment. If you hang out with the wrong people, they're going to rub off on you. But if you hang out with people that are open-minded, that have big dreams, that have big ambition, that's going to rub off on you. So for me, I think when I was like around the age of 15, 16, I was really into snowboarding, and I met this guy, his name is Mike, snowboarding on Grouse Mountain here in Vancouver. And he's like a little bit younger than me, he's like 14 at the time, but he was always wearing like new snowboarding gears. I'm like, man, how is this guy affording like new goggles, new like snowboarding boots and stuff like that? Like probably rich parents, right? But then a few years later, I found out that he was like importing and exporting cars from like Canada to US. That's how he was making money. But then to me, I'm like, that was such a big aha moment for me. What's like, okay, I've snowboarded this guy before. He's not anybody like crazy special. Like if he can do it, I can too. So I actually contribute a lot of my mindset and beliefs to that person. But I think coming back to your point, it's like being in the putting yourself in the position so that you can alter your own belief system and not just hang out with the same people every single day who, for lack of a better word, like drag you down, right? Because they're too scared to chase their dreams. That's really, again, you're just a product of your environment. So, by the way, how much were you getting paid at was it called SPAC? What was it called? Spec. How much were you like as an entry level mechanical engineer? What's your?
Yeah, it was like 75K.
75. And then what could you work up towards?
I mean, at that company, I think like the top, well, it's kind of weird structure, but if in a few years, probably get up to like 90.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You probably want to switch jobs. Like you wouldn't be there like your whole life. You probably want to switch jobs to like a better company with like stock options if you want to go that route.
Yeah, fair enough. So you're looking for you're like just overworked, and you're like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Did you ever think you were going to be an entrepreneur, or like were you just like, I'm going to do the corporate life?
No, I think I always kind of knew. Like I was always interested in business, and I had tried like random, stuff when I was like a teenager,
Tell
and
us
nothing really
what
worked.
are some of the embarrassing things you've tried? Please share with us.
um, just like selling, just stuff like selling candy, like buying candy from 7-Eleven, selling it like to people in high school, like during like SSR,
Nice.
the reading thing. Yeah, just like random stuff like that.
What else? What else?
There,
Tell us. I love these stories because like they're awesome. What else did you sell? What some other random things did you do?
there was like a website. It's something like
Silk
uh
Road.
no.
Kidding.
There was like some click things. I can't even remember like what it was. There's like some website where you can I can't even explain it, man. Um
Wow,
I
that's
can't
okay.
remember.
That's
But
all
then
right.
there was like other things like me and my friends started like a PSP website. Like we used to be into like hacking our PSPs, so we started like a forum and um like yeah, started like a community, and that was like I guess more of a leadership thing. So
Right.
just like kind of like random things like
Just like
that. But then
random ideas, and you like try your best to make it come to life.
something, yeah. I've always been a creator like that. But then I think like where all of this really started was I was 12 years old and I was watching like some action movie, like some badass like Jason Statham type of movie, and there was this car like driving down the runway of this airport, and it was like a black Murcielago,
Mm.
and I just looked at that car. I was like, dude, I'm gonna get that car one day, and so that's really been like my whole driving thing is like trying to get that Lambo. Um, so I mean, and I think that's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like I just think you need to know what you want. If you
Mm.
don't know what you want, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I agree. No, I absolutely agree. I think having the vision of like what you want your life to be like, it's so important. Because earlier we said like, oh, you gotta like think about all these different things and they will come to you. But if you don't think about all these different things, like if you don't know what you actually want, then like nothing's really gonna come to you. So I think, yeah, I've always wanted a better life, and I've always wanted, nice things like a big house or nice cars, and those are the materialistic things. And but there was also other things I want. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to. Yeah, I'm not sure about you, man. Okay, let me like one of the best things that I actually truly still value to this day is not the cars, it's not the house, it's none of that actually. It's the fact that I can not have an alarm clock and waking up and take my dog down and go to a coffee shop and coming back home. Like just that walk, it still hits me every other week where I'm like, man, like this is what entrepreneurship is actually about. It's the freedom of not needing to be somewhere and you can just go for a walk or a coffee shop. That's the small things that's really, really worth it.
yeah, totally. No, I totally get that. It's that freedom, and like I'm sure you just do that. Well, you said the morning, right? Or you can do that whenever you want, right? So where would you have been if you didn't go on this whole journey, right? You'd be in an office somewhere, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, I feel it, man. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the stuff you buy, it doesn't make you happy long term.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make you happy or sad. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's not like, well, if you, yeah, like I think if you buy materialistic things with an expectation that it will make you happy, I think you're going to be extremely disappointed. I think you're going to be extremely disappointed. But if you want to have materialistic things for the sake of actually just like, hey, like it'll be cool to have like a car. I don't have to drive it every day, but if there is one day that I want to drive it, I have the option to. I think that's like, again, the freedom, right? If you really want that freedom, then that's all about. But if you're like, man, I always wanted a Lamborghini, and if I have it, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world. Maybe for the first like month or two, but I think that will die down. For me at least. I don't know who am I to say. So talk to us about your Amazon journey. Do you remember your first by the way, can we show people your store or no?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's the
Yeah,
what's the store name so people can Or
It's
what?
you can go to amazon.com/shops with a S /cinch,
How do you spell that?
CINCH,
CIN.
CINCH.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pull it up here, guys. Gonna reveal the $1 million store. All right. So what do we have here? We got some dry
Whiteboard.
eraser. So which one was your first product?
That second row.
This one?
Yes. That was
Oh
the first
wow.
one.
And then you still have that to this day.
Yeah, that's one of the top ones. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you pick this product? Like what criteria did you follow? And yeah, like how did you ultimately land at this product?
Yeah. So it was just using like all these tools to, the Jungle Scout Helium 10, using those filters to put in or just using that search to put in opportunities that meet your criteria. And for me, I was trying to find something. I remember when I entered this niche, there was like one other guy who he was doing like 10K a month in revenue, and his product had like 4 out of 5 stars, and the review count wasn't that high either. But I just remember thinking like, look, he's selling like 10K a month, is like 600 units or something a month, and his product sucks because people are all complaining about this one thing. So if I just go in there and fix that one thing, which was on the whiteboard, like, when you write on a whiteboard and you erase it and like the ink doesn't fully come off,
Yeah.
is that residue? That was the problem. So if I just go in there, I find something better, I fix it, and I just market it better, then I'm pretty sure I can do at least 10K a month, if not more.
Right. And then so is that due to the actual ink, or is that due to the material of the whiteboard, or both?
It could be both, but it's primarily the surface of the whiteboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So do you remember like how many units you ordered, and like yeah, like do you remember any of that details?
Yeah, I bought like 1,000 units. I think it was like 3 something a piece, but then I had it airship too. So yeah, it's probably like 5K in cost right there.
So you threw in $5,000?
Yeah, I put in 5, and then probably like just there was like some pictures and stuff like that, so maybe like 6,000. Yeah, for the first batch.
Got it. And then what do you remember, like you getting your first sale?
Dude, I actually don't.
Oh man.
I don't remember like that one time, but what I do remember was I just remember we were on vacation in Hawaii. I think around the time when I launched this, and it sold like 44 units that day, and that was like a few days after the first sale, I think. And I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything. I'm here in Hawaii, and it's just like exploding. And I didn't even know what I was doing at the time, right? I didn't know why I was selling. I just spent like $40 at PPC. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't do anything, right? And it just kind of took off. So that's when I was like, whoa, like there's something to this, right? That I want to learn more about.
Interesting. So that was you like Hawaii, hey? You just came back from Hawaii too.
Yeah, no, right.
Interesting. So that was like a big mindset. So I guess you got quite lucky, because your first product, like your first product did well, because that's not the case for, I mean, my first product didn't do that well, and I know a lot of people's first product didn't do well. It seems like you kind of hit your first product just like from the get-go.
Well, no one really talks about like, yeah, that was the first product that I really like went through with. But there was probably like a year before that of just going through certain things. Like my very first product, I didn't place an order for, but I spent like probably 3 months just working on it. It was like a posture corrector. It was like a little band thing. It kind of looks like a backpack, I guess, and it just like pulls your shoulders back, keeps you in the right position.
Yeah. How come you didn't end up launching that product?
Yeah, I didn't launch it because what happened was, I spent like months working on it, and then when I was finally ready to make that order, I made the listing on Amazon, and it turns out it's a gated category, right? It's like health and personal care.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, like no problem, right? I'll just get approval. And yeah, that was like my first experience with seller performance. Was just like I sent them the invoices, sent them everything they wanted. They're like, no, like we can't accept you. And I'm like, why not? And then there's probably like a month of just going back and forth, and then it just never happened.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
like, okay, I'm just gonna move on because this is not working. And thank
Interesting.
God, because the whiteboard stuff is like so much better. And I'm really glad I didn't. That posture thing like is totally not me like at all.
Yeah, yeah. Whiteboard. You're more of a whiteboard guy.
Well, not really, but I guess it is like I don't have any. I don't know. I just feel like I don't have any like qualifications to be like. I don't even know the posture thing like actually worked.
Yeah.
I was just kind of,
That's a big product, by the way. Like not big physically, but like on Amazon, people are like
yeah.
making crazy amounts of money. Like crazy. Like I think the top posture guy was making like $200,000-$300,000 a month from one listing.
Damn.
That could have been you, man.
Nah.
Just kidding.
I like where I ended up.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. Cool. So I see that with your store, it's kind of all like whiteboards and well, mostly whiteboards, as well as some I guess, yeah, mostly whiteboards. So did you kind of, I guess what you did was like you saw that it was working so well, that it was selling so well, you decided to just like launch a bunch of different variations. Is that kind of, was that your thinking process?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, that's how it turned out, but that's actually not what I intended.
Oh wow, interesting.
If I had known that, if I had known to do that like back then, I would have easily been at like 8 figures. But
Right.
but no, what I did was I launched the blank one, and then I remember I launched the calendar version. So right, so same concept, whiteboard on the fridge, except it has a calendar print, monthly one. And just to do that was like I was thinking like, do I want to cannibalize myself? And like what if it takes away from like the other sales? And so I mean, I had to get over that. And then yeah, I launched that one. And then that was like the only variant I did, because then I launched like some other products that failed. It was like I launched like a nursing cover, and then I launched the socks that I'm still selling today. So no, it was very much like just like individual products. That's how I was thinking, like, oh, I need to go source like something brand new. I wasn't even thinking of like the variants. I didn't even identify that.
Wow.
But then I think like it was like a couple of years in when I started realizing like, oh shoot, like this is so much easier. Like you just use the same supplier. You just, even if it cannibalizes on your own listing, like it's okay, because you want to do that to yourself before your competitor does that to you.
Yeah, for sure.
And just the different keywords, right? There's like chore charts, there's monthly calendar, there's weekly calendar, there's menu boards. Like there's so many things that you can attack with like just the same suppliers. So it's kind of like a no-brainer looking back. But
so you were using that's really surprising to me to say that wasn't your strategy. Because when anybody look at it, it's like obviously he went with that strategy.
But yeah, that's what worked. That's what worked.
Yeah, guys, I'm telling you guys, the easiest way to scale in this business is if your first product does well, cannibalize the entire page one. And what I mean by that, again, I'm going to share my screen here, is if we look at Riaz's store, this is the first product. He's got, what was the second product?
That one actually failed. It was a monthly calendar, which isn't there anymore.
Okay. What about the third? Like, what was the
third? Was the weekly, third was the nursing cover, which is also failed. And then
wait. So you launched two products after the first one, and both of those failed. Can you talk to us about that experience? Like, were you like,
yeah,
wait a second, like I thought this was like easy business.
Yeah, for sure. I launched the first one that worked without me doing anything, right? And then the calendar launch, it was extremely slow, and that's when you really learn, right? When the stuff is not working. And so I got that calendar listing was very, very good for a long time, right? I launched it, I figured it out, and it was good for years. But then that one spun out. It spun out like probably halfway into the journey 2 years ago. And that was just because I wasn't being really aggressive. Like there was more competitors who came in and they were just spending more on PPC, and they're offering like multiple boards for like the same price I was offering one. And then I also wasn't paying attention to it. So it was doing like 50K a month in revenue, but then it went down to like nothing. And so that was like kind of a wake up call too.
Interesting.
Because I wasn't doing any PPC. It was like doing like 40, 50K a month and there's zero PPC. I wasn't a believer in PPC until a couple years ago.
That's funny because I was the same thing. I was the same way. I wasn't spending any PPC. Like we didn't start doing PPC until we got like a substantial amount of I did a little bit of PPC. I'm talking about like $20 a day on an auto campaign. That got to us to like $100,000 a month, and then we pass on to a we pass it on to a PPC agency who started spending money, and our sales went up. But yeah, no, same way. I wasn't a believer in PPC for the longest time, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now it's kind of like you have to, right? You're not going to survive.
No,
but back then, I think when we started, it was a little easier.
You just do giveaways, right? You do giveaways, and then you get yourself to spot one, and then you just sit back and collect your dough.
Exactly.
Yeah. Life was much easier back then. So what? Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. So how many suppliers do you have right now? You had one or?
I have like 3 or 4, something like that.
3 or 4 suppliers. Okay, because you got some other random products here and there, right?
Yeah.
Got it. So I guess like I want to kind of open this up to maybe the students. For the students to be able to ask Riaz any questions. I guess like how I'm gonna segue this is really just, like if you were to look back, what are a couple of things you did right and what are a couple of things you did wrong? And what are a couple of things that you recommend for like my students who are, watching this right now?
Okay. But so three things I did good.
Or like not 3, but like whatever, like 1, 2, 3, whatever you want. Like what are just looking back, kind of reflecting on this like journey. What were like kind of your like the things you did well and the things that you regretted not doing? And
so things I regretted not doing. Definitely the number one thing is just being number one thing is like kind of like cannibalizing yourself. And it's not like the best way to put it, but it's more like when you see that first winner, oftentimes it's not because your product is super amazing, right? It could be, but I've found that more often than not, it's because there's something about the market that is good, right? So if you launch a product, it starts doing well, you need to launch a second product that's pretty similar but still different. Maybe you just throw in some extra accessories or something to make it different size, to make it different. And you need to do that before your competitors do that, right? So if I were to have taken that strategy and just done that every single time that first product did well, you launch another one like that, I would have owned like all the top spots that is now shared between like a whole like 10 competitors, 10 top competitors, and that's really how you want to like attack the market and like have that monopoly, right? So that's like probably my biggest regret. And I have a second brand now that that I'm taking that exact approach, and that's how you like really grow fast, like you're saying, use same suppliers and all that. That's definitely number one. What else?
I mean, that's kind of the same stuff like we kind of teach in the course, right? Like once your first product does well, launch different variations of it. So it's, you deal with the same supplier, you don't have to find a new manufacturer. It just like the process is like 10 times quicker, literally 10 times quicker. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's, excellent tip. Guys, if you guys have any questions, please post it in the chat. You have the opportunity to ask. By the way, are you allowed to say how much? I wasn't allowed to say, but are you allowed to say how much you sold the business for?
I don't think so.
No,
but
okay.
It's like
it was between 1 to 10 million. We'll call it that.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to ask you a question. Like, and I think this is something that's interesting. Like, after you sold your business, you regretted it, and then you and I had a chat. Can you talk to us about? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like completely unexpected, right? Sell the business, multimillionaire, but I kept regretting it because basically I thought about, I wanted to keep it for the long term, right? Okay, so there was like certain reasons why I wanted to sell it. Um, but then after it was actually gone, it's like you kind of realize what you had, right? Oh, those products had amazing margins. Oh, like, I could have dealt with all the problems I had before. And I mean, it was the regret of like not just holding it, right? I put in all the hard work over the last 4 years, and I didn't get to just sit and coast with it at all. Um, and so that was the regret. Um, but then I think what helped, like I'm okay now about it, and I think what helped is just seeing uh, the next products like start to take off. I have one product that's doing like really well, and like I have this brand I'm going to build, and then just kind of like have my new strategy. I'm basically taking a break, like kind of like retooling things and starting back up again. But it's a hard position to put yourself in, right? Because you have something that's making money, and so do you want to coast with it, or do you want to pay yourself out for like 4 years? And then in my case, it was like, well, what happens when the 4 years is over, right? Am I going to be able to start the next thing? And it's like I need to put in more work this year, and so that's kind of some of the feelings I had.
Yeah. By the way, what did you tell your parents? Were they super happy for you, or were they just like, we don't even believe you kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I think they're pretty surprised. They're like, yeah, I mean, you did what took me 30 years to do
Yeah.
in a couple of years. So yeah, I mean, it's good. At the same time, like they don't really understand like the regret. The
Like, how did you get that money? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
ah, man, that's so funny. Yeah, I told my parents the same thing, and I think they, yeah, like they get it, but like at the same time, I don't think they do. But
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like you're good. So
yeah, they're like, okay, just don't spend it all.
be safe. Yeah. Yeah, don't spend it all.
Yeah. Okay, let's answer some questions here. Did you own what's the first question here? Let me see. I'll just read it out to you. We got Alan. Did you sell only the whiteboard part of your business? What about the other unrelated products?
Everything under that Cinch brand, so everything in that store, it was sold to them.
How was that process? Was that a smooth process? The first time selling the business, like, was it scary? Was it what?
No, it was actually like really, really easy. I sold with Perch.
You sold the perch.
Yeah, with Perch.
Oh,
yeah.
no way. Awesome.
And so yeah, the process was like too easy. It was like really easy and fast. So they're really good. They're willing to like accommodate the type of offer that you want. So
oh wow, interesting. So Perch is another Thrasio competitor. Perch is a pretty who is a top dog? He's in Singapore, right? The guy in Singapore, the French guy. Who was did you speak to the No, you didn't speak to the founder. I don't think you spoke to their acquisition team.
Yeah, I spoke to this team, but the owner of the company is Chris. I forgot.
Oh, never mind.
The guy who he's like a Wayfair executive, ex Wayfair executive.
Oh, interesting. Okay, never mind. I thought of the wrong person then. Okay, so purchase. Okay, cool. Question: when did you start, and how long did it take you to accumulate 1,000 reviews?
When did I start?
Yeah, when did you start your Amazon journey?
Oh, 2016, like late 2016.
Got it.
For 1,000 reviews, yeah, I don't know. I have to go back and look at the listing, but probably, yeah, I don't know.
It's actually
like a year or two.
It's actually easier to accumulate reviews now because of the ratings. Like before, people actually had to leave a review, like they had to type stuff to leave a review. And I think a year ago or a year and a half ago, they changed it to just rating. So you can literally click on like 5 stars and leave a 5-star. And Amazon actively, I'm sure you guys have bought products on Amazon before. Not sure how many of you get emails from Amazon asking you to leave a rating. They're doing more of that now. So it's actually easier to get reviews now than before. But having said that, it's easier for everybody. So it's not like it's easier for you and harder for someone else. So it kind of just like evens the playing field. And that's why like a lot of students, when they launch a brand new product, let's say it takes them like 3 months to get the product from Amazon, from China to Amazon. They're like, oh my God, Tom, you told me that the average review rating. So I teach like average review rating on page 1, like don't launch something that's super competitive. You told me the average review rating needs to be below 300. Now it's like 700. Oh my God, what do I do? I mean, that's fine. Like you're still okay. You're still good, but just don't go in. Don't do product research when everybody's out 700, because by the time you launch, people are going to be like 1500. You know what I mean? Please confirm, are these variations on the first successful listing, or would you make new listings to take up more real estate on page 1?
Yeah. So with that, there's like 2 strategies there. So I think ultimately what you want to do is have the listings take up different spots on page 1, right? Because customer types like magnetic whiteboard, and they're looking to see what's on that page. So like right there, right? They're deciding what to click. And so you want to be there, right? You want to have multiple variations like that. So, I mean, you could, if your variation is legitimate, and Amazon will let you have that as a variation, you can like start with the launch there and because the original, your main listing is like getting traffic, right? So when you get the new product, you can put that as a variation. You can let it get some traffic, get some sales, get some reviews, and then split it. That's what I've done a few times.
I will say, just pitch in there. I actually recommend, like, yes, there's 2 strategies, but I think if you can try to take up as much as literally what Riaz just said, take up as much as the page 1 as possible instead of a variation, because ultimately that's what you want. I kind of shot myself in the foot before where we added a variation and the main product listing, like it dropped, like tanked, because the new variation we launched, like the offer, there was just something wrong with the offer there. People are like, wait, why would I buy this one when I can buy this one? And then they bought that one, and then everything, like I literally messed it up. Like it was doing 30K a month by itself with no PPC, and now it's like I don't even know how much it's doing.
Oh wow. So actually putting that second variation brought the first one down.
Yeah, because it was a quantity. It wasn't a design. So it's like, hey, you can buy a 10-pack for like $24.99, or you can buy a 4-pack for like $13.99. And like a lot of people ended up going with the 4-pack. So the conversion rate on a 10-pack dropped significantly, and it pulled down everything. So I think if you're going with a design, I think it's better. But ultimately, I learned my lesson. It's like, just try to take up as much of the page 1 as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely. And then the other thing I would say is the other strategy that kind of worked for me, and I've done this across like multiple of those, is I'll have like the first one at the size is 17 by 11, like for that blank whiteboard. And then I have like 3 or 4 different sizes on top of that. So I have like 20 by 13. Okay, so you have 17 by 11 at, I think it's $16.99 now. Then you have 20 by 13, right? So slightly larger board. I think I sell that for like $29.99, right? So like a couple inches different, but like over $10 different. Mm-hmm. And then more sizes on top of that, one at $39.99, one at $49.99. And because I think it really works, because you have the main listing that people are clicking to, and like, you know, has all the velocity behind it. But then it's kind of like an upsell when you click that one, and then you have like all these other options, and they're like, okay, like your product has good reviews and everything. I want to buy this one. Oh, but maybe I'll buy like the bigger one that's just right here, mm-hmm. right? And so you get sales from that at like really high margin. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what I would do with variations, is have variations like that.
Yeah, we had so for our vitamin C serum and the derma listing, we had like a 2-pack attached, and so yeah, 2-pack, literally just like yeah, it was super easy to put together. and they were generating, like, we didn't run any ads. All we did was send it into Amazon and was doing like 10 to 30K a month, just like pure revenue and lots of profit margins. So that was great.
Nice.
Let's see here. What cash flow management system did you use, if any?
Yeah, that's one of the big struggles. The answer is I just had this like really crazy and just really crazy like spreadsheet that like adds up all the cash. I'd have to like put in like when I think I'm gonna make an order, and then like an estimate for how much money is coming in every 2 weeks. It wasn't really, it was just like a ugly spreadsheet. And then when I got, then my solve for that was just having like when things started ramping up, just having like way more money than I thought, way more money than I needed. So I didn't even have to think about that.
Nice.
So, I mean, there's not like I don't know of a great solution for that.
What were your margins for your product?
On a business level, it was like 30%. So, I mean, on the product level, it was like 35 to 40.
Got it. Good to know. Did you have to sign a non-compete when you sold your business? I assume the answer is yes to that.
Yeah, you got to sign. I signed a non-compete. It was like extremely generous. They just said don't sell whiteboards and don't sell socks. It was like another one of those random products, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it should be though.
Yeah.
Like, what they can't be like, you can't sell anything in the office space or home decor space. That's like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even like we didn't even. Yeah, it was just easy to agree on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super standard. And I think when you guys get to that point, make sure your non-compete says, don't say like a specific category, but just make sure like you can sell those products that you currently are selling. What are you planning to do now? Well, you said you're launching a new brand. Is that the plan?
Yeah, no, I'm like kind of going, there's a little bit of break there and then just going back, just right back into it. So I have toys brand that I'm starting to grow. And then, some other brand. I'm basically just going to make like 3 of these stores and just try to make them cash flow for the long term.
Nice. So you still think it's a good time to get into Amazon if you're starting up some new stores?
Yeah, I think it's a good time. I think you need to have more budget. But I mean, the opportunity is there. Like if you want to do something, like because a big part of my strategy is to try and offer something different, like in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be offering like the same product as everyone else. So if you try to if you actually try to make your product just a little bit better than the competition, and add value to it, then I think there's definitely room.
Mm-hmm. Would you still recommend cannibalizing if you're in a competitive market? I would say so. I mean, if your first product does well and you're confident that your second product can do well as well, like if you got a budget to launch, because the competitive markets, usually it's just more expensive for you to compete in, right? So if you are confident that you can compete in that, you have a big enough budget, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Same answer.
I might have missed the answer, but when you said the problems that you had, what did you mean? Cash flow. The problems that you had. Not too sure what he's referring to. Do these companies that buy out Amazon stores, do they approach you or do you contact them?
Either way. I mean, for me, I had one approach me, but then for Perch, I reached out to them.
Got it. What are the biggest mistakes and hurdles you faced when you first started? And a mistake and hurdle that you told yourself that you will never make again?
Definitely about the launch. This is like the most, one of the most important parts is that, so the nursing cover, that was the other product actually. So the monthly calendar failed and then the nursing cover also failed. And that was because I like gave away, like you need to basically be aggressive with your launch and learn everything you need to learn about how to do the giveaways. part of Tom's group, then he knows, right? So he's teaching you. But I think you need to like not be stingy on the launch, and you need to like give that product everything you can in terms of PPC, giveaways, add to cart, and like, yeah, my failed products, that's why they failed, besides the one that kind of spun out. So I think that was a big mistake. Like, you put in like so many months of work, like for the nursing cover, I put in so many months of work to get the product, and then I was just being super stingy on the launch, and it just didn't perform. So you need to order like all the inventory and like be like aggressive with it.
Yeah, for sure. Making sure, I think budgeting is a super important part of this business. I think it's really, really important for you guys to use the spreadsheets that we offer in this course, and budget everything out. The mistake that, with one of my stores I made recently is just like, we didn't have a budget. It's like, we were just spending as much money as we want. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's like the business it's actually losing money. And then we realized, like, wait a second, like, we didn't allocate a proper amount of budget to the launch. So super important. And I would say launching is almost like, imagine you're going to space in like a launch shuttle. Like, space shuttle, they don't just like turn the throttle like, oh, let's just try it with 20%, see how fast it goes, or see how it goes. It's like, all right, guys, strap yourselves in. We're going to turn it to 100% and wish for the best. That's what you got to do. You got to crank that thing to 100%. But it's so important for you guys to have your listing ready to be turned to 100%, because sometimes I've seen people, their product is in Amazon and they don't have their photos ready. They didn't do their copywriting. I'm like, what were you doing for the 2 months that it took for the Amazon for the product to get from China to Amazon, right? Like, that time is spent to put together your launch so that when it does hit Amazon, you get your reviews, boom, 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 PPC or giveaways or whatever it might be. Yeah, super important. Do you have a team, or did you do everything solo?
I have 3 VAs now and some other like kind of miscellaneous freelancers.
Nice. That's the dream, man. How is that, by the way? Because I have all my employees in-house, like most of them are in Vancouver, and I prefer that way, to be honest, because I just like to see people face to face. Not now, we don't even see face to face or anything like that, but I still like the same time zone, and I like that part. How is it managing virtual assistants in a different country and in a different time zone?
Yeah, I think it now it's pretty good, right? Because they've been trained up. It can be a little bit hard, like the communication. You got to like stay up a little bit later sometimes to get them ramped up. But when it's working, I mean, I kind of like just waking up to work that's been done. Like, I'll assign them stuff during my day, and then I'll wake up and it's just done. So that's nice. And I mean, the cost is just like crazy if you compare it to like any type of US worker.
Yeah. How much do you pay your employees?
I mean, average like 700 a month.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and there's no payroll tax or anything like that. But then obviously, like, the downside is like, yeah, they're not on your time zone. So anything that does happen, like for anything that happens like on US hours, like you have to be the one to do that, right? But I think in the beginning, when you're just learning and figuring it out, like, a VA is a really, really good resource because you're just trying to get out of like certain tasks that you shouldn't be doing, like customer service or just anything repetitive.
That doesn't take doesn't challenge you. Like, it's not like problem solving where it's like a problem. Okay, how do I solve it? It's like copy this line, paste it here. Copy this line, paste it here. Right.
Yeah.
When you were first looking for a product, did you already have an idea of what product you wanted to look for in a specific niche, or did you find them completely by random using BioLaunch or something like that?
No, it was completely random. Yeah, just using the tools.
Right. Hey, you got to read the next question. Here, I want to read the question because my dog is barking and I got to get it. Without being specific about your payout, what were the tax strategies you employed to keep what's yours instead of giving it to the government?
Tax strategies. That's something I'm kind of still looking into. I mean, the thing that you can do before, so it actually depends on like, so when you're selling, we did an asset sale, right? I think that's pretty
Standard, yeah.
typical. Yeah. So I didn't sell like my LLC that owns the Amazon business. I just sold the assets of the LLC, which is the Amazon account.
Yeah.
And so there's a in the contracts, you need to say like what is it that you sold, and
Yeah.
based on how you classify that as, there's going to be different tax implications. And so Perch was like really just, it was just kind of the default is that they assigned the asset as what's called goodwill. You have to Google what it is. I can't really explain it great, but
it's like your logo. Like, how much is your logo worth? Well, I got it done for $5 on Fiverr, but it's not like really worth $5. It's like worth like $500,000 at this point. So that counts as like a goodwill.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like your like ideas, right? Like things that like they're not really tangible and like you kind of but they have intrinsic value.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of it was goodwill. So goodwill is taxed at capital gains rate, not ordinary income tax. So that's kind of what you want to avoid, right? Is ordinary income tax.
Yeah.
Like any inventory that they buy, that's taxed at ordinary income rates, which is like really high. Mm-hmm. But the capital gains in the US is like 20%. So I mean, that's like just one thing you want to make sure about is that you get like pretty much all of it allocated as goodwill.
Yeah.
For tax strategies like outside of that, I'm still kind of figuring that out. There's like different things you can do. What is it called? Blanking on the name. But there's like a real estate play that you can do. I can't
1031 exchange.
No, not that. It'll come to me. Yeah. But then, I mean, besides that, like, yeah, I need to figure it out. But I mean, I thought about moving to Texas, right? You can move to like a state with no income tax.
Yeah.
Right before. But I didn't really want to live like, I like California. I didn't really want to move out just for that. But you could.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of stuff about moving to Puerto Rico because they have like 4% tax or whatever.
But then you're trapped on an island. It's like you got to be there for 6 months of the year, and you got to have local employees, and it's like,
yeah,
I would never. Sorry,
it needs to be worth it for you if you're gonna do that type of move.
Yeah, it's like 6 months. You're stuck there. It's like that's literally jail, in my opinion. It's like you have to be there for 6 months. What happens if like something comes up? You can't. You got to be somewhere else, or you want to go somewhere else. You don't like Puerto Rico, whatever it might be. There's a freaking hurricane coming through. Like, just anyways, all these different things. So I'm gonna wrap up this interview shortly here, and I know we have tons of questions. So I'm gonna pick kind of the questions that I think maybe we'll just stick to like 1 minute. I'm just gonna some questions we can answer in like 10 seconds. How much money did you start off Amazon with, and when did you start? He said late 2016 it was $6,000 for his first product. Would you consider doing the wholesale brand name styling of selling on Amazon? Yes or no? Like wholesale model.
Wholesale?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like apparently you can buy like let's say toothpaste from Crest from a distributor at super low price and then resell that on Amazon. Like retail arbitrage, essentially.
Okay. So like, yeah, not doing private label. Yeah, no, I'm all about private label. I think it's the best opportunity because you're building like your own thing. Building your own brand is just like, it's just so, you get the biggest payout for that. And you're actually creating something for the marketplace. You're not just like a middleman selling someone else's like toothpaste.
Yeah. When you
don't have anything to sell, if you do wholesale.
Yeah.
Sell a business.
I agree. When you separate a variation out as a standalone listing, doesn't it lose all the reviews? No, it doesn't. It gets carried over, actually. Not all, like, let's say Like whatever review that people left on that particular product that got separated, it will actually carry over to another listing. Is it one Amazon account per store or one Amazon account, multiple stores? One Amazon account per store, and each store can have multiple brands, but it's one account, one store. Riaz, what was the reason why you wanted to sell? What problems might made you want to cash out? Yeah, why did you want to sell in the first place?
I wanted to sell because I mean, it kind of started just there's a lot of ups and downs, right? A lot of ups and downs in the journey, and I was kind of overworked last year. Last year I added like a lot of products, and I wasn't like delegating as much as I should have. So it just kind of got to me, right? I was just tired.
Yeah.
And then also like me and my fiance want to travel next year, and then she's going to quit her job, and we just kind of wanted to have that security as well.
Yeah, fair enough. What strategies did you apply, if any, to prevent black hat aggressive new competitors when your hero products were getting momentum? Did you ever have to face any sort of black hat stuff?
Not really. Yeah, the niche is pretty good like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said improve the product, does it mean customize it, molding fees? If it can't, just be improved with a small tweak. Yeah, what do you mean by like customizing it?
Yeah, I try to avoid the molds unless it's like an easy mold. But like, for example, just changing the film of that whiteboard, or like the writing surface, like I talked about before.
Yeah.
That's an improvement. And if you can show that, like a side by side, like my listing has, like a side by side of like a competitor's board that's all dirty, and then like my board that's clean. Oh yeah. So the thing is, like, you can leave the writing on the board for like 30 days, and you can go back and erase it with just the eraser, and it erases clean. Right. Oh, wow. So you have a side by side of like competitor. This is what his looks like after 30 days trying to erase. Here's what mine looks like after waiting 30 days and then erasing.
Nice. Like a comparison image.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all of you guys should have in your listing. I think comparison images are really important. It helps it helps the consumer to make that decision. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know about that. Like, yeah, obviously I'm going to go with this.
Yeah. And then like the markers, like these calendar boxes are small, right? So find a marker supplier with like fine tip markers and then market that, right? Oh, here's like my competitor's marker. It's like a fat line, right? There's a line right there, and it's like super fat. And then you have mine, which is like a line, and it's like really thin, and you can show like how the writing is different. So tweaks like that, right? A lot of it is like finding just the right supplier who has what you want.
Amazon account management wise, can you just sell your storefront under the account you are keeping, or did you separate those somehow? You're selling the account, you're selling the login, literally. Like you're just selling the account with the products inside the account, and that's it. Yeah. You can sell individual products. I've seen people doing that before, and I've heard of people doing that before, but the more common approach is buying the entire account. There's no consequences for including your competitor's product in your advertising. Well, you don't put their brand name or anything. You just put like competitor X and then remove the brand name. Yeah. So cool. That's all the questions we have. Hey, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you coming on and spending your Thursday evening and dropping some bombs. And I think, I just want encourage my students to first, number one, think it's possible. Like you have to believe it's possible. And you have to believe like, hey, one day I can sell my business as well. And once you believe it's possible, that's like, I think 80% of the stuff, like 80%. The rest of it is the how. And I think with the how, like if you ask yourself the right questions, and if you ask yourself the right questions, you can figure out the answer. Because nowadays, we got the Facebook group here. You got YouTube, you got Google, you got weekly coaching calls. You got like the how is actually the easy part. Like how is, this pen made? Like you gave me 2 hours. I bet you anything I can find out the answer. And I bet you anything you can find out the answer as well. Right? The how is the easy part, but the why do I want to do this is the part that it's really hard for me to teach as a coach or as a mentor, whatever it might be. all I can do is, because everybody have different whys, right? My why is going to be different than your why, who's going to be different than another person's why. And you really got to find your own why. Like, why are you guys hopping on this Thursday night call when you could be doing a zillion other things? You can be watching Netflix, you could be watching YouTube, you could be hanging out with your family and friends. Like, why are you doing this? And what is like the 1 year goal? And I think a lot of people, when you ask them that question, the 1 year goal, they get really scared and they want to say something that's really conservative. And what they will say is like, well, I want to be realistic, right? That's like the number one thing I hear. It's like, well, I don't want to say something that's too extreme because I want to be realistic. I mean, I don't know what realistic means, to be 100% honest with you, because like people are freaking in Mars right now, guys. Like people are getting sent to Mars pretty shortly here. Is that realistic? I don't know. If Elon was like, that's not realistic, I don't think anybody would have been sending people to Mars. Is self-driving cars realistic? 5 years ago, you asked me that question. I say, no, that's not realistic, but someone else thinks it's realistic. So I think like, if you really have your vision, if you really have your goals, if you really know what you want in life, and not try to be realistic, but try to just be like, I can achieve anything I want, right? I can achieve anything I want in life. If I can, what would that look like? Start from there. Do I want to have 2 dogs? What type of dogs do they want? What type of dogs are they? Or what kind of cars do I drive? What kind of house do I live in? What does my daily day look like? There's a book called Vivid Visions. Have you read that book before, by any chance?
No, I haven't.
So I didn't finish the whole book, but basically it just talks about like your vision's got to be so freaking strong, and your vision's got to be so clear, and you have to just like see it in your head when no one else sees it, and you see it so clearly, like it's a freaking movie that's playing right in front of you, and you're part of the movie, and that's like 80% of the work. You know, that's the 80% of the work. So anyways, thanks for your time again, Riaz. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure the students as well, a lot of them are saying thank you. Riaz, super chill. Glad you have to talk with him. He is pretty chill. He's like one of the chillest guys I know, actually. You're very, very chill.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
I think that's a good
thing. All right. Sweet, man. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll talk again pretty shortly here. And when the US opens up, I'll definitely come down to Cali and we can chill.
Yeah, we'll have to hang out. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.